Hi, Irina. Hi, Ivan. How are you tonight?
Great, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Really good, Irina. Thanks for meeting with me. I know that you both are really busy, so I really appreciate your time that you're taking out with me tonight.
No worries. We're glad to zoom in and speak about Max.
Yeah, beautiful. And you're okay with me recording this with you both tonight, just so that I can use that. I don't want to be sitting here with pen in hand all night. So, you know, it's nice to get a recording and refer back to it if that's okay with you both.
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
fine
it's
with
all
that.
good.
Yeah, perfect. So tonight we're just going to talk all about Max. So I'm hoping that together we can kind of collaborate and set some goals for him for next term. You know, we've obviously had a term that's already passed and we've done our summative assessment.
Yep. Yeah, so what kind of concerns do you have on Max's development?
Yeah. So referring to some of the obs that we have, and the summative assessment that we've just done. So when we do observations, it's a team effort. It's not just me on my own, but you know, he's a very talented, intelligent young boy. So he's got a lot of skill sets in that. I think the area that we're struggling most is just his social interaction is really what he's challenged with at the moment. So they're the kind of strategies that I want to collaborate with you and try and work on that we can support him, you know, next term and forever on.
Hmm. Well, yeah, Max is an only
Yeah,
child and
Max is the only child.
yeah. He does play, by himself most of the time.
Yeah.
And we don't have much family here in Australia, so he doesn't really get to play with children his own age.
Yeah.
So that's why myself and my husband actually placed Max into care, was to try and expand that social interaction.
Yeah. And I think that that's probably a really good move in terms of having him integrate and socialize with other children. Ivan, with some of the concerns that we have, it's obviously just that social aspect at this point. You know, we'd like to assume at this age he was like wanting to engage with children. And sometimes we have to encourage him a lot to do so. So we're kind of taking him out of that comfort zone. So having a look at some of the obs, you know, in terms of his play skills, you know, moving from observing play into engaging in play is a challenge for him. Have you noticed this when you're out with Max? Like if he's with other children outside of the centre, obviously there's no family around, but at any other time?
That makes sense. I haven't noticed too much because there aren't many opportunities for him to play with other kids.
Yeah, he hasn't had that opportunity outside of the centre, right? So, you know, it's a known challenge for him, because if he's not experiencing that outside of the service, he would be challenged when he's indoors. With our child-centered pedagogy, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, children's voice and listening to what children want in terms of what experiences that we can provide them. And he loves music. Like it, and that's something that we've spoken about before, in particular, like classical music and opera. He's got a complete love for that. And we're looking at ways to support him in with that interest and maybe trying to integrate his love for music with other children. Do you think that that is something that Max would enjoy?
I really do think so. And I wonder if there's any way that, as a service, that you could kind of include music in a social kind of aspect to help him. I know he really enjoys the iPad and watching music and things on the iPads. So I wonder if there's any way your educators could bring that technology and music together.
Right. Yeah. So that's a really good suggestion. I think that that would work really well for Max at this point, and especially to try and involve other children in his space. You know, we could also like try and, you know, extend his interest by talking about the types of instruments are used during that music, and maybe we can try and veer him away from that iPad and start using different resources like musical instruments, if that ends up being, you know, an emergent interest of his. We're trying to also not use strategies that involve the iPad as much. You know, we talk a lot about screen time for children, and there was huge deals about, you know, screen time and how much screen time children will have, but now it's all about balancing that out. So we can certainly integrate it in some way, but then we don't want it to be like the item that is going to assist him with engaging. We have to think outside the box a little bit with that. What's your feelings about Max's dependency on using technology, in particular the iPad? Do we share the same?
I haven't been too concerned about the iPad at home, but we can give him less screen time and encourage him to play with more other kids.
Yeah, I agree, Ivan. I think that balance is really important. technology is a big thing these days, and it's not going away. And trying to integrate that more positively, excuse me, might work a little bit with him. The other things that we've observed, and just having a look at some of the notes here, that he's really interested in soccer. So that's another great interest, and that's a team sport, right? So maybe that's another area where we can try and support Max to integrate with other children and, teamwork and collaboration. He's showing some really great gross motor skills and coordination skills with ball games. So we're going to try and use this strategy to build his social confidence, or use ball games or those kind of sporting activities to build his social confidence. What do you think about that, Ivan?
That's a good idea. Max did show some interest with his grandfather was visiting. They would go for a kick the ball in the park. That might be a way to help Max interaction with other children too.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks for that, Ivan. I think he's going to build a big understanding. I think if gross motor is a strength of his, he's going to be confident. And that's what we want. We want him to feel confident in that skill set, and maybe even do some peer learning and teaching others how to do that. So we've also got on here that in terms of the iPad, right? Because that's kind of a little bit of a comfort for him when he's feeling uncomfortable. Reflecting on these observations, we've noticed that Max needs support from his educators to share, in particular, sharing that iPad, because he's so connected to that iPad. I'd love to hear your feedback on this, if that's an area of concern for you as well.
Yeah, I've noticed like something at our home environment. However, due to COVID over the last few years, Max had too much social interaction beside coming to childcare.
So he hasn't had much social interaction because of COVID. Yeah, and I think that us as parents also struggled with technology during COVID, and children, slightly became a lot more dependent on that. Thanks for sharing that, Ivan. Yeah, the social interactions during COVID was pretty limited, and I think that we're challenged by that at this time with this group of children. So what about Max, like outside of the service? Have you as a family ever thought about trying to get Max involved in some local community clubs? Like it could be sporting clubs or music groups, because those activities will probably help support his social interactions as well with others.
Yeah, we haven't actually really investigated that much for Max. We kind of just thought that childcare would fulfill that social interaction that he needed. But obviously it might be a good idea for myself and Ivan to really investigate that further and try and build that social circle outside of just the childcare.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good idea, and we're here to support you. So
yeah,
if you wanted us to investigate some local soccer clubs or local young children play groups or groups, like we're happy to provide you with that information and try and support you in that way, because I think that would be a really good idea too.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really helpful for us.
Yeah. What do you think, Ivan?
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what support you are able to bring to Max in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we've got a few things to work on. Yeah, but the best part about it is that we all know what Max's interests are, and it's just trying to use those interests and try and extend them to a larger network of peers, for him to play with and build those social skills. Is there anything else that you may want to go over tonight while we're meeting here? I'm happy to meet in a month's time or so. Obviously we can chat at drop off and pick up. I'm always available. If you needed to call me during the day, I'm always available. But I think we've got a good set of strategies that we can start applying for him.
I think so. I think it's a great kind of plan we've got here, just to investigate the local area and help support Max. I'm happy to have another Zoom call, say in a month, where you can speak to both myself and Ivan instead of just one of us at the door or pick up, so we're both kind of on the same page. That would be great.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm available. I'll make myself available. Be a big challenge for Max. Okay, beautiful. Well, if there's nothing else that you have to ask me, but I'm available, right? What I'll do next is I will collaborate with my team. We might do just like a kind of a mind map about where we want to see, where we see Max in 1 month, 2 month, 3 months time, and start setting those individual goals for him, and collaborate with you along the way as well. Yeah,
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Thanks for meeting with me tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time.
All right,
we'll catch up very soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.